Welcome to another edition of the Giants Huddle podcast, the first Baldy's breakdown edition of the 2025 season. It's all brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. I'm in the Hackensack Meridian Health podcast studio. Keep getting better. Joined by friend of the program. It's been a while, Baldy, Brian Baldinger. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, John. I mean, I'm like everybody else. I'm just trying to digest week 2, and obviously they're just a heartbreaking loss that the Giants had in Dallas with so many different chances to win that game.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. We are going to do a very detailed breakdown of the offense and all the good stuff that happened. But Giant fans, obviously, you're upset. You start 0-2 again in the division, Baldy, which is not what you want to see. And the defense just had multiple chances, and they did get a couple stops in overtime to their credit. But in the fourth quarter specifically, and in the second half, they went 5 possessions without keeping the Cowboys off the scoreboard. They just could not stop Dak Prescott, who I thought played great, by the way, and that Cowboys passing attack.
Well, he also had, I thought they did a good job up front against the rush. I mean, Burnsy made a play or two, and Abdul got there a little bit, and Kayvon, got there at the end, and they had a little bit of pressure, but not much. I thought the offensive line of the Cowboys protected Dak, and he gave him, really good looks at some of his receivers, whether it was CD or Ferguson, who had a big game, and then Pickens, who has is starting to emerge as their ex receiver right now.
Yeah, I want to talk about the pass rush, actually. I think that's a good place to start. Because if you look at the numbers, Burns impacted the game.
Yeah,
Dexter Lawrence it still
yeah,
doesn't look like peak Dexter, but he was better this week than he was last week. He
yes,
impacted the game.
yep,
Abdul Carter, he hit Dak that forced
yep,
that Drew Phillips interception.
yep.
Kayvon Thibodeau won one-on-one against Terrence Steele a bunch. But when you're in, and I said this on Big Blue Kickoff Live to our mutual friend Paul Dottino earlier today when we recorded, you know, when you're in a situation where you force the other team into spots where they have to pass the ball, right? And they're going
Yep.
to pass the ball. That's when you want your fourth quarter pass rush to take over the game. And while they, again, impacted the game, you never got the feeling that the Giants pass rush took over the game.
I agree. And there is a mentality that you got to have as a pass rusher to be a closer. That's what you want to do. I played with Reggie White in Philadelphia. He was a closer. LT, Strahan, they were closers. When the game was in the balance and you needed a stop, you needed a quarterback hit, you needed a sack to finish a game and close the game out, those guys rose up. And while there's a lot of good players in New York, that mentality, I don't know. And I'm not, I don't know if they have it yet like that to go, okay, I need my best rush of the day right now to get to Dak. We can't let him complete this pass to get off. We got to get him off the field.
Yeah, and I will give the Cowboys some credit with that too, Baldy. I don't know if I've ever seen an edge rusher get consistently chipped like they were chipping Brian Burns in this game. He
No
never
doubt.
got a one-on-one ever against Tyler Guyton. They let Kayvon Thibodeau go one-on-one, and he got a sack. He had some
Yeah.
wins against Steele. Obviously, Dexter's going to get doubled, inside, and Carter, did his work. But boy, they definitely made sure, Baldy, they chipped with Javonte Williams.
Yep.
They chipped with
It's
their
smart.
tight end a bunch, and that's what you have to do.
Well, but it's a sign of respect. First of all, they know that that's a guy that can really beat you. And he's had a great preseason. He was good against Washington, so they know it. So it's a game plan thing. And if Burnsy's going to take two, somebody else has to win. I mean, it's the way it is. You can't. Most teams want to try to get five out, but if that back is in chipping, if the tight end is in there chipping, if they're sliding, a couple other guys are going to get one-on-ones. And when that happens, somebody else has to win.
Yeah, 100% right. All right, let's talk about the secondary part of this, Baldy. Before we get to the specific play, I want you to break down. In general, again, I thought Dak made a couple unbelievable throws. That crossing route he threw to CeeDee Lamb over
No
Bobby
doubt.
Okereke in front of
Yeah.
Deontay Banks. There was no room for that. A couple plays later, Dexter Lawrence puts him on his butt. He still completes a 20-yard out to the left sideline. So, again, I want to give credit to the Cowboys, but I just thought there were a lot of situations where their receivers just beat the Giants' cornerbacks in some big spots late in the game.
They did. I thought Paulson Adebo had a rough day. I mean, he's here to play press man coverage. That's what he did in New Orleans. That's why he was a premier signing in free agency. And you want him to be able to play tighter. But, if you get beat by some of these guys, I don't know what the confidence level is sometimes, or it needs to be. But that's a guy they're counting on to be able to hold up in man coverage right there. And so I thought that was a little bit shaky. And then I haven't really seen Javon Holland yet really make an impact, in the passing game. and he should be better than that. I mean, he's still young. He can still run. He understands angles, but I haven't really seen the young guys. Obviously, Drew Phillips comes up with a good turnover off pressure from Abdul. Like you can kind of praise him for that. But I just thought we'll get to the play, but I mean, I just thought they had chances to maybe get off the field and because they were playing with the lead, and they knew they had to throw. So you thought that the coverage would be a little tighter in some of those situations in the fourth quarter.
All right, so let's get to the play, the one you mentioned. The Giants score a touchdown, and again, we'll get to the offense. Great connection between Wilson and Neighbors. Cowboys get the ball back with 19 seconds. I'm doing the pre and post with Tiki Barber in the studio. First thing I say to Tiki with 19 seconds, I go, dude, they have Brandon Aubrey. This game's not over. Because if with the new kickoff rule, Baldy, you
Yep.
start at the 30-yard line, all you need, the Cowboys have all 3 timeouts. All
Yep.
you need is 20 yards, and you're in
Yep.
field goal range.
No doubt.
And they force an incompletion. Kayvon Thibodeau, great pass rush on the first
Yep.
play of that drive,
Mhm.
right? And they end up
Terrence
forcing.
Steele.
Yeah, they actually had Pickens on a little mesh concept going across. It would have been a good gain. Thibodeau forces the incompletion, almost forces a fumble. Then with 14 seconds to go, they find Ferguson over the middle to midfield, which sets up a Williams run, which sets up the field goal. Take me through that pass to Ferguson. What did you see? What did the Giants need to do differently or better?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a dime defense right there. Carrick is the one linebacker. Dane Belton is down there. It looked like it was a Tampa 2 coverage, which is they're gonna basically cover the number 3 receiver, which is Ferguson, to the right side with the whole player, which is Dane Belton. And Okereke is really kind of free. He's not really being pressed. But I mean, you could see that it was all right. Jake Ferguson, run to the 50 and turn around. The ball's going to be there, and nobody really squeezed it. It was just too loose, and it was too easy of a throw for Dak. I mean, he threw the ball before Ferguson even turned around. It was on timing. You could tell it was Tampa 2. The 2 safeties were like almost lined up to the numbers. Usually, you line up on the hashes and then you widen to the numbers. They actually lined up really wide. I thought it was a pretty good indicator to Dak of what coverage it was going to be, which is it's a popular coverage, especially with the tight end in that spot right there, off the ball tight end. I mean, he literally just ran free without any obstruction, turned around to 50, and Dak had the ball right in his chest.
The Giants Foundation will host a 5K Racing Kids Run presented by Quest on Sunday, October 26th at 9 a.m. at MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds would benefit the Giants Foundation. All participants will receive a commemorative t-shirt after the race. Stay for a festival with appearances by Giants legends and a live DJ. Register now at giants.com/5K. The Giants Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation.
Huddle up, get in here. If you're lined up here, you gotta go over the middle with it to score.
Right. How do we make that happen?
I don't know.
But Citizens does.
Make sense of your money with Citizens, official bank of Eli Manning.
And Bolden, I think the frustrating thing to me is that for the most part, it's not like the Giants were playing soft coverage for a lot of the game. To your point, they played a lot of man in this game. They played a lot of single high, and they were challenging the receivers, trying to challenge Dak. They forced a bunch of little checkdowns to the tight ends and Williams and stuff like that. But on that particular play, I understand you don't want the ball to go over your head. But if you just run that same coverage, Baldy, but you move everyone up 10 yards,
tighten it up.
Yeah.
Like there's an old saying,
fine.
John. There's an old saying that you back up, you give it up. You step up and you clean it up. Like there's just an old saying, defensive coordinators have been running that for a long time, but like it's too easy. It's just like you're not taking anything away at that point. I'd almost rather see them just press. And if you get beat over the top on that play, you get beat over the top. You tackle them, they still got to kick a field goal. But like this, everybody in that building knew, including you and Tiki, like this Aubrey is a weapon. And, we've seen him, his leg, like the ball looked like it was fading to start with, but it ended up straightening out. And, but he would have made that field goal from 70.
Yep.
So you just can't give him, those, whatever it was, 16 yards, whatever he got on that play.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's something that you get to overtime, you get a couple of stops, and then you have a couple of mishaps by the offense. And that's all she wrote. So let's talk to the offense here real quick, Baldy. But first, a reminder, the Giants Huddle podcast is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. From game day celebrations to your everyday financial needs, Big Blue fans can get the most out of every moment with Citizens. Learn more at citizensbank.com/Giants. Over 500 yards of total offense, Baldy.
Yes.
Russell Wilson, 450 yards, 30 of 41. 3 touchdowns. The pick in overtime obviously mars the performance a little bit, but 123 quarterback rating in the game. After a rough week 1, Russell Wilson was bombing away and just challenging these Dallas Cowboys cover 2, cover 4, cover 3s, and just going over the top.
Went over the top. I know all off season, all I heard was the emphasis on this Giants offense was to become more explosive. John, they had 7 explosive plays, and everybody, whether it was Slayton, Wandale, Neighbors, they all had a hand in it. And that's, they couldn't score last week. They couldn't get explosive plays like that. And it was not just explosive plays, but explosive plays for touchdowns. Yeah. 3 of those touchdowns, all explosives. Wandale, 2 by Neighbors, the first one and the last one. And literally, whether it was Trayvon Diggs or Kyer Elam, like they attacked. And really, Russell Wilson had good. He didn't have to run around and go try to get an open space. Like he was winning from the pocket and making his throws from the pocket, and that was encouraging because the protection was so much better than it was a week ago.
Yeah, I want to talk about a couple aspects that you talked about. We'll get to Neighbors, but first, Wandale Robinson, Baldy, and we talked about this when you were here over the summer. They wanted to use him in a little bit of a different way this year, not just on those speed outs and the option routes and the little curls and stuff like that. They wanted to use him down the field, and boy, that first long pass, he went right down the middle. He beat the linebacker back in the cover 2, split the 2 deep safeties, caught it over the middle. Then he ran down the seam on another one, caught the pass. They were using him in the middle of the field, but down the field, which is much different than what we've seen in years past.
And the 32-yard touchdown pass was just a seam.
Yep.
And he's got a great change of direction. Now, we know he's got all the routes that you want out of the slot position, but this looks totally different than that. There's the stick nods and the arrow routes and the pivot routes inside. He could do all that stuff, but this was a vertical passing game, and they attacked the Cowboys. And so, those 2 safeties have been playing for a long time in Dallas. Malik Hooker's been around. They ran right by those guys.
And they ran by the corners, and you could tell Dallas started with Diggs on Neighbors, quickly realized that Trayvon Diggs, who, I don't think either of us believe he's fully back from that knee injury yet. He's not running the way he used to. He couldn't stick with him. Then Kyer Elam gets on to him, and he can't play him either. And the Cowboys really did not have an answer for Malik Neighbors in that game. No matter where the Giants put him, the Cowboys just could not find an answer for him.
No, and he's so strong. And so his ability just to go up and just take the ball out of the air, like his hands are so strong, and the way he uses his body, it's so impressive. But that's what he is. And, to see him just run right by Trayvon Diggs for that touchdown. I mean, maybe Diggs can't run the way he used to before the injury, but still, like, that was instant separation. And, Russell, like, you saw it all season, but he's an accurate deep ball thrower. That's always been his game. But the good thing was he was able to do it from the pocket without getting crushed like he did against Washington.
Yeah, and look, you brought me right where I wanted to go, Baldy, and that was the difference, right? And we spoke briefly, just texting after that Washington game, and both of us were pretty, like you have 5-11, you have a 5'11" quarterback. If you get pressure up the middle, he's not going to be able to do it. Like it's just not going to work. And the pass protection was just so much better in this game, where he had time to sit there, survey, and he didn't hold it a ton either, but he just had a clean pocket to find and know exactly where he was going to go with the ball.
Well, I can't talk good enough about what the rookie Marcus Bowe did at the blind side. Like once they removed Hudson, it was just the penalties were obscene. And he knows that, but just the extracurricular stuff, like and it's, just jumping off sides, like they made the right move. I know Carmen had to kind of, hold him back a little bit, but hey, Marcus Bowe went in there. He went up Dante Fowler, Marshawn Nealon, Sam Williams, toe to toe with these guys. He was outstanding, and he really gave Russell the blindside protection that all quarterbacks really need. I can't talk enough about because I know when you see Marcus, you don't think he's a tackle, you think he's a guard, But honestly, when I watch him, and I watched all the snaps in the preseason, John, he reminds me a lot of Deion Dawkins. And Dawkins has been but they have a sort of a nasty disposition. They're very, very good feet. They can dance with anybody. they probably don't have all the measurements, the arm length and the height that you want, like Andrew Thomas has. But darn if he doesn't just stay attached to his man. And it doesn't matter. He put Dante Fowler on the last touchdown pass to Malik Neighbors to go up 37-34. Like he put Dante Fowler on his back on a pass rush. And like he's a finisher. He brings a little attitude to it.
Yeah, I thought there were a couple plays where he got pushed back into the pocket on the Russell Wilson interception. He got pushed
a little bit.
But look, he's a rookie. You know,
Yeah.
you're going to expect that strength's going to build. And you knew that coming out that he had to build his strength a little bit. You live with those. But to have not one free runner on that side the entire game, Baldy, when even in week 1 we had some of those coming off that side.
Yep.
I just thought really impressive performance. And we'll see if Andrew Thomas can go next week. But
Yep.
if he doesn't, I don't see how you could take Marcus Bowe out of the starting lineup.
No, but I mean, it's been a real weakness at that position when Andrew Thomas has missed time over the last 3 years. It's been a real weakness. And I feel like, and I'm not like maybe James Hudson rebounds, I don't know, but I feel that they feel like they should have some confidence if he has to go in there, honestly, anywhere, whether it's right, if something would happen over on the right side, whatever. I feel like they feel pretty confident about his abilities right now.
Yeah, and frankly, I think they should. And the other thing that I kind of noted on Russell Wilson in this game, which I think talks to me about his worth, Baldy, you know, the Cowboys were not just sitting pre-snap in these zone coverages. They were starting in 2 high, going down to cover 3, starting with single high, then going back into a quarters or a cover 6. They were trying to disguise stuff, but Russell Wilson was diagnosing it almost immediately. And he knew exactly what the Cowboys were trying to do, even though I thought they actually did a fairly decent job trying to disguise stuff pre-snap.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the experience, you know, because there is a pre-snap process that you want to see, and you're looking for any indicator. But you know, the one thing that we know about Russell, he's a pro, and he did block out the noise, and he did go back to work, and it wasn't a good start. But I don't think anybody could have ever imagined that you could rebound the way that he did. But he went back to the things that he does well, which is really good, quick diagnosis and very good touch on the deep ball. I mean, I've watched a lot of these games already this morning and last night, John, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen overthrown, wide open receivers. Mahomes had one yesterday. Yep. Wide open receivers, and you know the timing isn't there. And we saw great timing on the deep ball to all 3 receivers yesterday.
If you want to know how to manage 2 minutes of crunch time football, I'm your man. But if you're wondering about a long-term financial plan, you should talk to Citizens. Hey, I can also talk lawn care.
I'd like to learn about a mowing routine.
Yes, I knew I could help. Make sense of your money with Citizens.
No, I'm with you 100%. How about the run game, Baldy? They seem to lean into Cam Scatterbull a little bit more.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, he popped that run, you know, at the 25-yard line. And, you know, Donovan Wilson is a good tackler. He went high on him, and he just shook him off. And he put that ball on the 1-yard line, and then he punched it in. And then he caught a couple passes. We all know he's very strong, but you're starting. I think you started to see it a little bit. Just hit the contact balance, the difficulty to tackle him right now, and then just that bowling ball mentality, like he's not going down on one tackle. And that 24-yard run that he popped that set up that touchdown. That was an impressive run.
Yeah, and there was another run, too, where there was some penetration up the middle. He did a little jump cut to the left, and he ended up, it's the combination of the contact balance and the power, as you just talked about, Baldy. Then there is that phone booth, like, quick feet quickness, too, to kind of make sure guys aren't contacting him in his chest and they're just getting kind of one half of his body instead. It's a pretty good combination. I think him and Tyrone Tracy, I don't know, and I would like to get your take on this. With Cam's size and running style, I don't know if he can survive being an 18 to 20 carry a game guy. He might not make it. Yeah. But I think him and Tracy together and throwing, a dash of Singletary, that could be a nice little running back combination there for a long time here.
I expect it to be a good combination because we saw the same thing from Tyrone last year, just the contact balance and the ability to take 4-yard runs and make them 16 yards. We saw that quite a bit last year. But, there's always, it's only week 2. But there's always a little dance that every back has to have with the offensive line. And it could be how they work up to the Mike linebacker. It could be, all right, we're going to stretch this thing here. This thing could break backside. Like and some back, And so that's what you're trying to find each week is which back has the best feel for how things are blocked up front. Ultimately, I think they're going to share a lot of carries this year. They have a lot of similarities, but you'd like to get to the point where you can get 30 carries in a game and you can split them up pretty evenly, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, Baldy, real quick before we say goodbye, anything else on this game, first and foremost, you want to touch on? Otherwise, look ahead to that Chiefs game next Sunday night. You don't want to go to 0-3. Both teams are 0-2. That's going to be a tough one on Sunday night against the former AFC champions.
Well, look, I just saw Kansas City yesterday, and they are struggling
Yep.
to get explosive plays. They don't have CD Lamb and George Pickens to throw the ball down the field to. I mean, if they have one guy that's got speed and can get over the top, and it's Tyquan Thornton. And he got one yesterday for a touchdown, but they missed him a few times. They do not have an explosive element to their offense, and I don't think the running game is strong right now, John. Like, I expect the Giants to give them everything they can handle up front. Mahomes has been the leading rusher 2 weeks in a row, and you have to account for him. He will hurt you on third downs. I don't know if it's a spy or whatever, but you got to have a plan for him because he is a very talented runner. And look, if Travis Kelce doesn't bobble the ball at the goal line, they're going in to score right there. So 0-2 is 0-2, but still they had a chance to take the lead 17-13 in the fourth quarter of that game. And the rookie Makuba took it out 40 yards, and it really opened the game up.
And we know the Chiefs' defense with Steve Spagnuolo is always going to be tough.
Well, you're going to have to handle pressures. Like they came after yesterday, Jalen Hurts a bunch in a lot of different ways. And, I mean, they went back-to-back blitz zeros at one point yesterday, John. Like, it's not just red zone, and it's not just third down. Like, he might just call something because he's got a feel for it. And so it could be with three linebackers out there that is designed to stop the run. He might come. And they emptied the bucket quite a bit yesterday. The Eagles handled it okay. They were content just to punt for the most part and play very conservatively. It doesn't look like that's how Russell wants to play right now.
No, I don't think that's the way the Giants want him to play either, to be honest with you. He's going to see single coverage deep in those cover zero looks. I think the ball's going up to Neighbors. He's going to trust this guy to make the play. So we'll see how that goes.
I would expect them to probably put Trent McDuffie. He's their best corner on Neighbors. He's a very talented corner. Jalen Watson, they could do it the other way. They could put Watson on him and double Neighbors and then put Trent McDuffie on Wandale. I mean, they've got some combinations that you might see in this game.
Yeah, and McDuffie can play slot and outside too, so you can move him around a little bit if you want. Baldy, always a pleasure, my friend. Great talking to you. It's been a fun first couple weeks of the year. Wish it was a little bit more fun for Giant fans, but keep enjoying the football, and we'll talk to you down the road.
You got it, John.
Brian Baldinger, Giants Huddle Podcast, the Baldy Breakdown Edition, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. I'm John Schmeelk. You can check out all of our social media platforms, including our YouTube channel, for Baldy's video breakdown of both the Giants passing game and Marcus Bowe. We'll see you next time, everybody.